to this Shabbat service. It is Mental Health Awareness Shabbat, as you know, and we will be reflecting on that topic throughout the service. Welcome to everybody who is here on Zoom, and welcome to those who are with us live on our social media platforms as well. Shabbat Shalom to one and all. I was selecting a service, one of the five. This particular service seems to be particularly reflective in nature. Certainly, it has it relates to light and darkness, and these are themes that we're very much interested in. And are closely related to mental health. So as we go through the service and hear the readings and read the words, let us reflect on their meaning and how they relate to us and how we can bring light and warmth to others, because we all go through light and darkness. We have our ups and downs, but we're fortunate because we have each other, we have community, which is also something that we'll be addressing and referring to tonight. I will make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. As these candles remind us of past generations of our people who have sought to live up to that ideal, so may we, in our day, strive to be a source of light to those about us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, June. Eternal God, your glory fills the universe. You are never beyond the touch of your hand, yet we are grateful for special times and places which help us, in company with others, to reach out to you. Here at this hour, let us feel your nearness. Grant that we may hear your voice speaking in our hearts, as, in the stillness of Sabbath peace, we turn to you and we turn to each other. I'm going to, we're going to sing Kol Ha'olam Kulo, which I will put up on the screen in just 1 second. So Kol Ha'olam Kulo is, represent the words of Nachman of Bratislava. The whole world is a very narrow bridge, and the main thing to recall is not to be afraid at all. You can hear we have the contrast with the mood of this song with the laughter of my little boy, my 9-year-old, who's behind me looking at something on his iPad, actually. Surprise, surprise. These are the times that we live in.
Nick, can I just say that
Yes.
there is a feedback coming back, and you're the only one that's on. I think it might be a feedback off the iPad or something.
Thank you. That's a good point. I will address that. Just bear with me 1 second. Is that better, or is there still feedback? There's still feedback. Okay. How about now?
That's better. Nick.
That is
Better.
better. That is better.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sorry, it's back again, Nick. Sorry. Gone now.
I'm looking around like, yeah. Perhaps if I move from where I am. That's what I'll have to do. Just give me a second.
It's not that distracting.
No, I'm not hearing Nick.
It's fine, Nick.
How's this?
Yeah.
It's like stamping his iPad.
Okay, thank you for bearing with me. I apologise. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzav me'od gesher tzav me'od gesher tzav me'od kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzav me'od gesher tzav me'od v'chayikach לא לפחד כלל וחייכר לא לפחד כלל כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד גשר צר מאוד גשר צר מאוד כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד גשר צר מאוד. The whole world is a very narrow bridge, and the main thing to recall is not to be afraid at all. Thank you, Rachel. We can move back to the Siddur. And could I ask Sue and Steve if you could lead our responsive reading of the Psalm, Psalm 98?
Sing a new song to the Eternal One, who has done wonderful things.
You have made known your serving power, your righteousness to the nations.
You remember your love and faithfulness for Israel.
All the ends of the earth have seen young sowing power.
Shout for joy to the Eternal One, all the earth.
Break with full, sing aloud, sing praise.
Sing praise with the harp.
With the harp and the sound of melody.
Let trumpet blast and horn resound.
Before the sovereign God.
Let the sea roar and all that fills it.
The world know who dwell in it.
Let the rivers clap hands.
Let the mountains join in joyful song.
Before the eternal God who comes to rule the earth.
To rule the world with justice and the people with righteousness.
Thank you, Sue and Steve. Psalm that reflects the beauty, the miraculousness, the complexity of the natural world. Now we welcome the Sabbath bride. Please join in at home with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat l'uvnei lecha. Im himakur habracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'asev machshava tehila lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Kiva orech uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Ohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzala, doch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Now we move to page 92 for the blessings before the Shema. Baruchu et Adonai hamavora. Baruch Adonai hamavora leolam va'ed. We praise the Eternal One, to whom our praise is due forever. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, v'chokhmah poteh she'arim, u'tvuna mashane itim, u'machlif et hazmanim, u'masader et hakoavim, v'mishmorotechem b'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, olel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil ben yom u'vein layla. Adonai tzvaot shemo, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. May I ask if Miriam would like to unmute herself and read the following unending love paragraph.
Right. Ahavat olam bet Yisrael, amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadata. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochbeinu u'v'kumenu, nasiach b'chukecha. V'nismach b'divrei Torah-techa, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu, u'vahem nege yomam v'layla, v'ahavatecha al tasu mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We praise you, O God. You love your people, Israel.
Thank you, Miriam. Those who are able to stand, you wish to do so. May those who wish to stand to attention, however you're able to do that, as I am doing. We now come to the Shema, the watchword of our faith. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. וחיו הדברים כאלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם. בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך בשוכבך ובקומך. וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך. כתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love the Eternal One your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Let these words which I command you this day be always in your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be like frontlets between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את שם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים לחיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly, we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang together, מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Ezekiel, would you read for us the next passage, Grant Eternal God?
Grant, eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake. Be your help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth.
Baruch atah Adonai, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל יושבי תבל. Thank you, Ezekiel. The Tefillah, page 97. Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Adonai, שפתי תפתח ופי אגיד תהילתך. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elokei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel ve'Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibur v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו ואחווה. מלך חוזר ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. We praise you, O God, shield of Abraham and protector of Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם, אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. Simon, may I ask you to do the honors?
חיים וחסד וחיי מתים ורחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורפא חולים ומציר אסורים ומחיי ומנצח לשנה עפר מי כמוך בהר גבורות ומי מלך מלך מי צומחיי ומצמיח ישוע.
ונאמן אתה וחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. We praise you, O God, source of eternal life. קדוש אתה ונורא שמך, ואין לנו אלוה מבלעדיך. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We praise you, eternal one, the holy God. May I ask, could I ask Ed Taub, who would read the next passage? We thank you, please.
We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and in meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life From you comes its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace.
Thank you, Ed. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. May I ask Rachel, would you mind reading Our God and God of our ancestors?
Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teachings. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Thank you, Rachel. Modim anachnu lach, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור היינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל נשיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב ובוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, לך נאה להודות. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. Supreme source of peace, grant true and lasting peace to your people Israel, for it is good in your sight that your people Israel and all peoples may be blessed at all times with your gift of peace. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך, והגיון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Thank you, Rachel. So, as you know, this is Mental Health Awareness Shabbat, and I wanted to say a few words about the event and also about the topic. Just before I do so, I want to make sure that the slide that I'm going to show is ready. Okay, it is. So, the charity, Jamie, is the specialist provider of mental health services in the Jewish community, as I'm sure you know. They delivered 27,000 provisions of support over the last year, and they established Mental Health Awareness Shabbat in 2017. The idea of this is self-evident. It's to raise awareness and to lower the stigma. We need to get people talking, because the more that people talk about mental health, the greater will be our understanding of it, our capacity to support it, and the less likely people are to suffer in silence. Talking of suffering in silence, and also not wishing to diminish in any way the suffering of other vulnerable groups in society, I wanted to make a point about male mental health in particular, which is indicative of the challenges that exist for us around this subject. Over the last few years, I've volunteered as part of the support team at training weekends, which help participants to deal with the ups and downs and the give and take of everyday life. Now, when I've been at these sessions, looking around the training room, as a question to all of you, what do you think was the ratio of men to women? Anyone like to hazard a guess? What's the percentage of men and women in the room? You can unmute yourselves and
20% men.
20% men. What did you say, Tony?
80% men.
80% men. Interesting.
I think much less, 5%.
More men than women. More men than women. Yeah.
I think more women than men.
Why do you think that, June?
Because I think men are loath to wear their hearts on their sleeves, and they suffer more in silence, and are less likely to seek out help, or even if they know about it, it would take them a lot to go to it. That's my idea.
Okay, thank you, June. Well, that pretty much what you said essentially summarizes perfectly the situation. It was actually, the ratio was 1 to 3, 1 man to 3 women. 25% in the room were men, 75% were women. And this connects to the latest government statistic that male suicide rates, this is a reality, are 3 times higher than female suicide rates. And again, I think June was saying that men are less likely to seek help. And actually, suicide is the greatest killer of men in this country aged between 20 and 49. Why would this be? June and others have said that men don't like to talk about it. And perhaps that's a lot to do with the stigma. The stigma around depression and mental health is still a significant one, especially amongst men, but also more pronounced in particular cultures that are less likely to seek help. There's a strong argument, of course, that the stigma is more harmful, more of a killer than the illness itself, with people worried about how the revelation of mental illness will be seen by friends, by family, and employers. These, as we know, are the realities that play out in the community around us, so it is important that we're aware of it. If we look to the Tanakh, there are a number of references to mental illness, which are interesting. So 2 examples of figures who found support and are good models for us are Moses and Elijah. So Moses, as we know, had quite a stressful role. He was the inadvertent leader of the children of Israel. This, 600,000, this polyglot, multicultural mass of people. Not an easy job. And at one point in the book of Exodus, we're told that he was under a great deal of pressure, mediating disputes, large and small, amongst the tribes, the Israelites. And his father-in-law, Jethro, noticed this, that he was suffering, and advised him. He said to Moses, "You will surely wear yourself out, and these people as well, for the task is too heavy for you. You cannot do it alone." And from that point, as you probably know, Moses looks for a far more sensible way of doing things, and he delegates judicial authority to trustworthy deputies, to other leaders among the tribes. And that lifts the burden for him, and also makes the administration of justice far more efficient, far more successful. Kudos to Moses, kudos to Jethro for noticing and reaching out to his son-in-law. Another example is the emotional struggles of Elijah, set out in the book of Kings. The prophet, he pleads for God to take his life because he's depressed and dejected, to which God responds by sending an angel who provides him what he needs. In this case, what he needs is acknowledgement of his suffering, physical sustenance in the shape of food and drink, and the instruction to undertake a 40-day journey, which gives him the opportunity to reflect. And it saves Elijah. So Moses and Elijah receive the support that they need, and the principles behind these stories are lessons to us. As is the story of Saul, King Saul. So he's a biblical character who unfortunately does not receive support. In the book of Samuel, he's described as being tormented by an evil spirit, which can only be soothed by David's playing of the lyre. Saul's erratic behavior, when you read, his rage and his paranoia towards David, are the classic signs of depression. Research into Jewish communities and mental health within Jewish communities shows that Jews who are unaffiliated to Jewish communities are more likely to contemplate suicide than those who are unaffiliated. This points to the important role of belonging to a group, of having support networks, such as we seek to provide in our synagogue. So we should have no illusions as to the value of this support and what we do in this community, what you do for each other. And I thank you all for the role that you play as builders, as participants in community. It is exceptionally important. A surprise best-selling book over the last couple of years has been this one. It's a beautiful book. It's written by Charlie Mackesy. Some of you may have seen it. And I'm going to share I'm going to share this on the screen. There we go. So that's the one. So the book is called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. The horse is asked by the boy, what is the bravest thing that he's ever said? And the answer is help. You can see that, I think. Now, talking of help, I've lost the paper which I had my notes written on. But this is something that is both profound and in a way very sad. It's sad that it is so difficult to ask for help. It's never going to be easy to ask for help because, after all, we are, if you need assistance, then obviously you're going through challenging times. And sometimes we don't even know that we need help when we need help. So to reach out and ask for help is never easy. But hopefully that it can become easier to do. It's important that we would like to be living in a way that we know that when we reach out for help, that we will get it. And that if we do reach out for help, there isn't any shame in doing so. And there's no longer a stigma around it. The words that we often say, that we often sing, are very apposite. Lo alecha chamlacha ligmor, lo alecha ligmor. It is not for us to finish the task, but neither is it for us to desist from it. Being part of a community, looking out for each other, things that we do, things that many of us do out of kindness, out of a sense that it's the right thing to do, out of a sense of altruism, out of a sense of Jewish values, because these are the people that we are. They are exceptionally important. And on Mental Health Awareness Shabbat, we are reminded that although hopefully books like this that I've shown you and events like Mental Health Shabbat reflect that the tide is turning, that more people are aware of it, are talking about it. But it's something we need to be very conscious of. So just turning up on a Friday night and being part of this group, I think it gives everybody a lift. Hopefully it helps to sustain each other. And may we all do things that sustain each other over the coming days, over the coming year. Finally, I think as Stuart said in his blog post last week, we know the tremendous services that are offered by Jamie. So if you or anybody you know is in distress and requires assistance, we have our care team. There's also the Jewish helpline, the Samaritans, please get in touch with me if you would like contact details of any of these organizations, or if I can be any assistance. Shabbat Shalom. we turn to page 520 for the ELELS. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובכי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Could I ask Jane Port if you would read Trusting in You?
I will. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name, let them give honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever. And it has been said, the Eternal God shall rule over all the earth. On that day, the Eternal God shall be one and known to be one.
Thank you, Jane. Rachel, you can keep it on this page for now. I'm going to move to prayer for healing. As we're streaming, we're not going to say the names aloud of those for whom we're wishing refuah shlema, but please say those names in your heart. And if you would like to do so, then write the names in the chat. May it be your will, Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, speedily to grant perfect healing of body and soul to all who are sick. We praise you, O God, healer of the sick. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei HaCholim. I acknowledge the names that have been put into the chat. Thank you. Page 522. As we worship before you, O God, we think of those who once shared with us the joys and burdens of life and who are no longer in our midst. We think particularly of Sylvie Sutton, cousin of David Peterson, Josie Pinney, mother of Joanne Pinney, Rosie Goff, the sister-in-law of Tony Kirsty, Harvey Leslie, the cousin of June Bradbury, who passed within the last month. We also think of Rosemary Myers, the mother of Lee Baruch, Sylvia Abrahams, related to Glenda Dibble, to Anita Golding and her husband, to Hannah Shedley, mother of Jackie Glassman, to the brother of Melvin Grant, to Zoe Porton, a friend of Alice Wilcock, to Dale Jacobs, the son of Len and Bev, and a wonderful friend to my brother Jonathan. To Carol Adams, sister of Lois Benshaw, to Rita Lee, the mother of Anne Berg, to Deborah Fenton, the mother of Steve Fenton, Colin Grodant, husband of Suzanne, to Juliet Sigrist, the mother of Ruth Seeger, to Aaron Jacob Seeger, son of Ruth and Andrew, and Ruth Brill, the mother of Mark Bass. The sorrow of bereavement is softened by the bond of love which continues to unite us with those dear ones, and by our cherished memories of them, which we will always carry in our hearts. May all that was good in their lives remain with us as an influence for good. O God, grant consolation to those who are in sorrow and light to those in darkness. Teach us at all times to put our trust in you and to praise your name. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר, ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשו ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, באמרין ועלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. And now, before we conclude the service, I hand over to our Vice Chair, Stuart, for the announcements.
Thanks, Nick. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I thank you, Nick, for leading the service, and Gary and Rachel for hosting, and all who took part. Thank you. Tomorrow morning's service is at 10:45 and also will be built around Mental Health Shabbat. It'll be led by Mish and Ben, and as I said in the blog, I will be talking about mental health problems, illness, and hopefully be able to attend. Sunday afternoon at 6 p.m, very special event. We'll be joining with the Minnesota Synagogue for the Tao of Two Torahs, and be looking back at the history of both. We both each have a Czech scroll, and we'll be looking where they come from, how they were made, and the story up to today. Every weekday at 11 a.m, we have our 11s for chat on a very wide number of subjects. Monday afternoon at 4:30 is Puzzlers, ELELS Puzzlers, and also Monday at 7 p.m, we have the More Than a Game, the football group, and I presume they'll be covering the third round of football. It's quite an exciting weekend for football fans. This Thursday at 12:30, Rabbi David will be having a lunch and learn session on Tu B'Shavat, and not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the 16th, we have a Tu B'Shavat Seder in the evening, and the planting of trees, I think, in the morning. But all the details are on the weekly update, and lots of other things going on in the very near future. So please everyone have a look. Wish long life to all who mourn. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Take care. Thanks, Nick. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. So we conclude the service with Sim Shalom. And feel free to join in at home. Just share that. Your peace, kindness, and blessing, grace and charity and mercy on us and all of Israel, your people, and the world. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. En v'chesed, v'rachamim. En v'chesed, v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Sim shalom, tova, uvracha. Adonai oz le'amu yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo b'shalom. Eternal God, grant strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace. Shabbat shalom. So, may I ask, I've kind of been moved from where I was. So is anybody able to lead the kiddush? Because I'm worried that if I go back over there, we're going to get more feedback. So is anybody set to do that?
Elliot. Elliot can do it.
Elliot, is that right? Am I hearing?
I'm suggesting him.
Okay.
I'll second that, June.
I'll third it.
I'm going to do it without singing today, or much of it, because the throat's not good. So heaven and earth and all their array were finished. For the seventh day, God finished the work of creation. And on the seventh day, God rested from all the work now done. Then God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, having rested on it from the completed work of creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kadsho v'ahavaru v'ratzon hichaltanu dikaron l'maseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila l'mikvayei kodesh deichel etziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'chata yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahavaru v'ratzon hichaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Homotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Nick, thank you very
Shalom.
much and for the talk. And
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank
Very profound